Now I'm told the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal is now on the podium. Let's take you there.
Delil, the member of the Executive Council in the Province of KwaZulu-Natal for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Reverend Zondi, Your Worship the Mayor of eThekwini, Councillor Kaba, esteemed G20 delegates.
That's, of course, KZN Premier there, Thamsanqa Ntuli there, just giving opening remarks. And we apologize for those visuals. We'll endeavor to bring it back to you a bit later on in the program. Let's take you back to KZN now, where South Africa is hosting the second G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in the province, bringing together global delegates to discuss creative and more inclusive, innovative and sustainable future plans for tourism. KZN Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli is on the podium. Let's listen in.
But in heart, this meeting arrives at a defining moment. Across the world, the tourism sector is emerging from the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic, a crisis that tested our resilience and reshaped our perspective. Now, as we look to rebuild, we are called to do so to make tourism not just a driver of growth, but a force for good. Under South Africa's G20 presidency, we have adopted a theme that speaks not only to our national ethos, but to the global moment. This vision echoes here in KwaZulu-Natal. For us, sustainable tourism is not an abstract idea. It means ensuring that tourism benefits rural and urban communities alike. It means fostering innovation, supporting small businesses, promoting environment stewardship, and expanding access to market through improved connectivity and infrastructure. In aligning with the G20 Tourism Working Group's priorities, we are investing in digital transformation, unlocking financing for sustainable tourism projects, and nurturing the next generation of tourism entrepreneurs. These are not only our policy commitment, they are our moral commitment. In KwaZulu-Natal, we believe that tourism can be a bridge between economies and cultures, between the past we honor and the future we shape together. And in that spirit, we look forward to the conversation, connections, and collaborations that will emerge from this meeting. Importantly, we view sustainable tourism not as a buzzword, but as a way of life for our destination. KwaZulu-Natal is blessed with extraordinary natural beauty. From the uKhahlamba Drakensberg Mountain, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, to our pristine coastline and Big Five game reserves. We are committed to preserving these treasures. Our province is actively implementing responsible tourism practices, supporting wildlife conservation, expanding blue flag status to more beaches as a mark of water quality and safety, and promoting community-based tourism that involves local people in showcasing our Zulu culture and heritage. These efforts align with the shared G20 vision of tourism that safeguards cultural and natural resources for future generations. In short, we want tourism growth with sustainable and inclusivity at its core, ensuring that as the sector prospers, so do our people and our planet. Excellence, the story of tourism in KwaZulu-Natal over the past few years is one of the resilience and remarkable recovery. Like all destinations worldwide, we faced a dramatic downturn during the pandemic, but today we stand millions visitors, including around 620,000 international tourists, Tourist Africa News Agency .com. even as His Worship Mayor has mentioned here, yesterday we hosted the spectacular game in our province between the big teams, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. Well, who won is another story for another day. But what is important is that we really witnessed the strength of tourism contributing in the economic growth in our province. With those words, I wish to welcome not only here in eThekwini, but for our province, because the city of eThekwini is part of our province. I wish to welcome everyone present here. Enjoy KwaZulu-Natal. Please do go out and explore the beauty and the warmth of our communities, so that you will share an important story about KwaZulu-Natal, so that many more will come into our province. We are open for tourism. We are open for business as the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Indeed, we will make sure that we go and experience this beautiful province, and there's a lot of special treats that is planned for the delegates that we will actually partake in later. Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Now it's my singular honor to call to the stage my boss, and she is the chair of the Ministerial for Tourism G20 Working Group. So she's a lot more interested in what we're going to be doing after this session and what is going to come out and what is it that you will mandate me as the chair of this particular group to go and give to her, so that the discussions at ministerial level will then commence. Honorable Minister, the floor is yours. Thank you.
And those are live visuals coming there from Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, where the second G20 Tourism Working Group meeting is currently underway. And as you might be aware, that global delegates are gathered there just to engage in discussions that are focused on building more inclusive, innovative and sustainable tourism sector for the country. And just before that, we also heard from the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Nduli, who went at length to actually give us an overview, as well as give those opening remarks to say that the tourism sector is a big money spinner, which needs to be fine-tuned as time goes on, but also sealed it there with welcoming guests to KwaZulu-Natal, being a tourist attraction itself as a province there. And also, this is also at a time where all systems are gearing up for this big G20 conference. And of course, we heard there also at length how the Premier also just went on to say that it will need all hands on deck. I'm told now we do have that connection back up and stable. Let's take you back there and listen in on the Minister of Tourism, Patricia de Lille.
And then we're joined by our knowledge partner, the United Nations Tourism Executive Director, members from the media, both local and international media houses that are here, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. South Africa is very proud to host the G20 for the first time on African soil. It's a defining moment for South Africa and for the rest of the continent, because the G20 nations represent 85% of the global economy, 75% of international trade, and 67% of the world's population. And also in November this year, the G20 summit will also bring together the heads of states of the G20 countries represented here. In partnership with the African Union, we will provide a vital voice in global discussions, especially concerning issues affecting developing nations on the continent. Now, we do not take this responsibility lightly, because we need to highlight Africa's developmental agenda and promote equity in the global governance. Indeed, we are committed as South Africa to aligning our G20 efforts with the African Union's 2063 agenda. Under the theme Solidarity, Equality and Sustainability, South Africa's G20 presidency highlights our commitment to tourism, innovation, investment, and also enhancing air connectivity and developing inclusive and sustainable tourism practices. So far, and for the rest of the year, we will be hosting more than 130 G20-related meetings across our country, providing unparalleled opportunities to showcase our country, our venues, our facilities, the business collaboration, because all of this in the end is contributing to job creation and also drive investment. So this G20 summit to us is more than just an event. It is a statement. It is a statement that Africa is ready to take its rightful place in the global economic leadership. It also demonstrates our proven ability to host safe, world-class events on this scale in our country. Honorable G20 delegates and guests, we are meeting in Durban today, KwaZulu-Natal. It's the only province with a name and a surname, KwaZulu-Natal, for the second G20 Tourism Working Group. And also every year in May, we all descend here to Durban from across the continent, where we will be opening tomorrow the biggest showcase of African tourism excellence. The Africa Travel Indaba is the pride of African tourism. It's a Pan-African event. At least more than 27 African countries will be present here as from tomorrow, and ministers. And in this year's trade event that we call Indaba in South Africa, we will welcome over 1,300 exhibitors. We have delegates from 27 African countries and over 1,200 buyers from 55 countries across the world. So we are incredibly honored to welcome new participants to our Africa Trade Fair this year from Chad, from St. Helena, Burkina Faso, whose presence here shows the growing role this trade fair is playing on a continental basis. Honorable Premier, in 2024, the Africa Travel Indaba generated 226 million rand in direct economic activity in Durban and in the province, and an additional 333 million across the KwaZulu-Natal province. It has also created more than 1,000 jobs through the event. We've seen more than 120 micro, small, medium enterprises that were also given a platform to engage with global buyers with the direct market access support from the Department of Tourism. This trade event is under the theme Unlimited Africa. G20 delegates at Africa's Travel Indaba, you can look forward to having insightful lessons designed to drive the growth of the African tourism sector. You will experience opportunities to forge new and sustained partnerships through the various networking sessions. You'll also experience updates on South Africa global tourism marketing strategies, a deeper focus on the economic significance and the impact of the tourism industry, and just an overall showcase of the African continent across the continent. Now, the Mayor and the Honourable Premier, and your warm welcome to your warm province and to the G20 delegates. We know that it's here in Durban where you feel the warmth of South Africa. You will feel it when you meet people from diverse cultures, backgrounds. You'll be able to enjoy spicy curries and not to mention a warm tropical climate. So there is my free advertisement, Honourable Premier. But first, you have to put your head down and work. Your discussions during the next 3 days will not only inform what each G20 tourism minister decides and debates in December when we meet in another province in South Africa, Mpumalanga. But your discussions will also inform what our heads of states finally agree in November. And I want to thank you in advance for all the hard work that all the G20 working group delegates are putting into this. And we trust that your engagements will be fruitful. The Tourism Working Group also serves as a forum for the growth and development of sustainable tourism by promoting dialogue and exchange of knowledge, exchange of best practice amongst the G20 members. Let us learn from each other. There's not always the need to reinvent the wheel. Let us look at the tried and tested methods and solutions and experience that we find amongst the G20 member states. Because sometimes we tend to do things starting anew. Let us learn from those best practices. Because this forum, this working group, serves as a forum for growth and development of tourism by promoting dialogue and exchange knowledge. Now, under the G20 tourism ministers' leadership in respect of the tourism agenda for G20 as identified by the presidents, the main objectives, or one of the main objectives of the G20 ministers meeting later this year will be to position tourism as a driver of economic, social, and environmental change. Explore the potential for tourism and travel to support the economic recovery in many countries, as well as long-term transformation to a green economy. We must also better articulate and communicate the economic and developmental case for tourism. Mainstream travel and tourism sector's voice in the global agenda by building a more effective voice for the sector. And also mobilize a collective effort amongst us to build a sensible tourism policy framework that will help influence country level and international economic and development policies. So this is certainly a highlight for South Africa. And we need to also look at the key deliverables. And deliverable number 1 that says people-centered artificial intelligence, innovation to enhance travel and tourism startups. To deliver is to create an action plan. And that is what we expect to come out of the working group, an action plan on all the priorities. So that's priority number 1. Priority number 2, tourism financing and investment to enhance equality and promote sustainable development. I think I must have mentioned the word sustainable more than what I think is necessary this morning. But it's also important that relevant and related to the tourism sector, that we bring this word sustainable closer to the tourism sector. Define the word sustainable within our tourism context. And then also part of the delivery number 2 is to look at tourism financing and investment for sustainable development. That is why, as part of the G20 initiative, in September, we will also host a tourism investment summit to look at the needs of tourism within the tourism family and context. Priority number 3, air connectivity for seamless travel. And this deliverable is for the G20 Working Group to report on air connectivity for seamless travel. It has been on the agenda for many years. And that's why the emphasis is to report on what are we going to do. Especially travel within the continent, we really have to focus on that. And then, of course, the last and the 4th priority is to enhance resilience for inclusive development. And so, as the G20 Working Group, we must deliver on an action plan. So I really look forward to your in-depth discussions for the work of the G20 to reach consensus on what needs to be done, on what we need to achieve. We will hand over the G20 chairpersonship in November to the United States of America. And certainly we are committed to continue to work with all the G20 member states. The United States of America is the chairperson for 2026, to continue to further look at action plans and deliverables for the tourism sector. Now, in terms of our knowledge partner for the G20, the United Nations tourism sector. They are our knowledge partner, and this and all the work that we've been doing so far would have not been possible without the support of the United Nations. And they will continue to work as a knowledge partner with the working group, and they have already helped us to produce South Africa's tourism issue note. So I want to wish you a productive few days with open ears, with open mind, and with an open heart, that we've been inspired by the warmth of KwaZulu-Natal, the warmth of the city of Durban. And like we say in South Africa, come and find your joy in Africa. We are very grateful for all the work that you are doing. And as I was saying, we really look forward to see your action plan. And when we meet again later in September, when we come back, I really want us to not only say that this is the first time that we are hosting the G20 on African soil. I want us also to say and acknowledge that having had the event here, that we were able to come up with solutions that's moving the tourism sector forward. So thank you very much for your time, indeed, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. We've got our marching orders, it's clear, and we will get down.
Okay, we were live to you there from KZN. Of course, that was the Tourism Minister and Chair of the Ministerial Group for G20 on Tourism, Patricia de Lille, there giving the keynote address at the G20 Working Group on Tourism. Some of the key takeaways, she did mention that they will be having about 120 G20-centered meetings. This is to rope in collaborators, and the next meeting will be in Mpumalanga. And also went at length to also speak about, growth and development for sustainable tourism. And she also says that they're supposed to be using tried and tested methods, is what she called best forums to build sustainable tourism. And this is all ahead of that all-important G20 summit, which will be happening later in the year. Sealing it there with a plea saying that come and find your joy in Africa. We leave it there for now to take a quick break.